Right, we're at the Tortoise Centre and we've got a special guest today. We've got Kevin Eatwell, who is a exotic vet from Fife Exotic Vets, and he's actually adopting a marginated tortoise. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to introduce him to everybody. Kevin's actually got a great practice that is specifically doing exotics, and if you are a tortoise keeper and in the north of the UK, I'd highly recommend you looking them up. He's on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Is that right?
Yeah.
All that, and can also do remote consultations as well, which is a great resource because we know that we need more vets who can work with tortoises and birds and lizards and snakes. So,
Yep.
so who have we got here?
So this basically is a new marginated called Dillon that I'm adopting. So Dillon, basically, he's kept by known for about 30 years, and the issue that he had, which ended him coming up into rehoming, is he was hit by a spade across here. This was 2 years ago that he had the injury. And we see a lot of tortoises with shell damage from, like I say, strimmers, mowers, spades, shovels, dogs, rats, depending on what they've been doing. And so it is important that we try and keep them protected from those, but it's important to remember that the shell is part of the tortoise. This is living, this is painful. So for any sort of shell injury that they get, first step is you've got to make sure that they've got adequate pain relief on board, because these sort of things hurt. So that's absolute priority. Then you've got to look at the wound and assess where it is really with them. So Dillon's been quite lucky in that we've got spine running down the middle, which the spade missed. Pelvis is going to be sitting in here. So again, you'd want to make sure you've got good mobility in the back legs, so there's no pelvic damage. But under this bit is the lung fields. And if you get damage to your lung fields, you will get almost like bubbles coming up from the injury where the air is escaping, mixing with a bit of blood maybe from the tortoise. So that's something you need to check for. Because it was more of a spade than a poke, if that makes sense, Dillon's been lucky in that what's happened is the shell's been squashed in, so it's flattened the lung but hasn't punctured the lung. There's a membrane on top of the lung between that and the shell, so that's just been pushed in. So basically Dillon's got away with that quite nicely. So pain medication, antibiotics obviously to stop infection coming in because it was full of soil and everything else, and you can clean and flush these wounds out. You just want to be, if there's damage to the lung and you're seeing foamy bubbles come out, you don't want to be flushing that a lot because you've got the lung already damaged and exposed. But in this case, it was just squashed down a bit, spine was missed, back legs are working fine. So
don't
good
try
space.
this at home. You do need specialist veterinary attention if you do have a trauma like this to a tortoise's shell, and this is a perfect example where trusting a knowledgeable vet is really important. And yes, they do heal amazingly. This happens in the wild as well, but yes, we can give them the help and reduce the risk of an infection by giving them cover antibiotics. And the other thing to think about long term, isn't this right, Kevin? Like if they're in the rain, you might want to be careful if this was actually filling with water, to make sure that it stays clean and that, that you're not introducing shell rot. That's another thing to think about if you've got a tortoise with shell damage that something's not catching. If you're with had a female that's got damage, you want to make sure that you're keeping it clean with a mild iodine solution.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, and this is just grass seeds in here at the moment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like a soft toothbrush with a mild iodine solution.
Yeah, that'll work perfectly.
Yeah.
And for all of these, if you're worried about internal damage, then we'd be x-raying and things to look inside to see if there's any internal damage and see if there's any signs of infection brewing around that site. But basically, if it's solid, as we've got here, just been pushed down, they're really, really good at healing over time, and this will eventually, Dillon will fill in and granulate internally and push the damage out, which will take 4, 5, 6 years for him to do that. But then this area will eventually fill in completely. You'll always see a scar, but they're very good at repairing these injuries over time. That's what the shells are designed to do. So you can see some with some pretty unpleasant looking injuries that can be quite, almost to the point of wanting to let the tortoise go, but they are able to heal very, very well. They just need go to a specialist vet, get the care and attention they need, and depending on where the injury is, they actually can do really, really well.
And there's amazing things where you can actually gently get a frame to pull the shell up, can't you? And there are super things that can be done, and as long as there's good pain management, you've got to look at the whole picture and the general health of the animal. And this was a healthy animal. I think he was with the same owner for 30 years.
Same owner for 30 years. He basically he lived in a walled garden, and because it was southern England, obviously it was warm enough for him to do what he wanted to do quite happily. We do recommend they get supplemental heating as well as being in a garden. So the sort of pens that we've got created here are ideal. And we were saying when we're looking at more northerly in the country where the weather's more unpredictable, you do need to have a combination of an area that is safe. That's the first thing for them in the garden, good sunny spot. Make sure they're parasite free before they go into that, but you do need to make sure that they're well protected.
I was going to say, are there many exotics up in Scotland?
We see loads up in Scotland.
That's crazy.
There's loads.
Yeah.
But your environmental temperature is lower. So for those, much as an outside pen is great, what I tend to try and get people to do is to combine it with having a little outbuilding. Could be an old Wendy house, something like that, where they can actually make a little tortoise-sized hole in that, but you can insulate that and you can put extra heating and UV in there.
You see, that's the dream. Like in the south, we say like with a male, you can get away with having a little cloche, to help them warm up on bad weather days, maybe an upcycled fish tank. But I think because you're 5 or 10 degrees cooler than us, it's hardline what we would recommend for a female, which is access to a greenhouse and ideally an adjoining windy house that's insulated with UV, tube heater, and all that. So
I tend to recommend those for them, and the reason for that being is when you've got variable weather, people are busy, they're out at work. You've got to if you've got a pen that's separate, you've got to make a judgment call at 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. What's the weather going to be like today? Are they going to come out and get a bit of natural UV? Are they going to enjoy that or not? And so you get a lot of missed opportunities where they could get natural sunlight because it was just awful when you got up at 8 o'clock in the morning.
And they shouldn't just go out, I take it for walks. That's not enough. Like they need ensuite ideally, so that they can go out as much as possible, not just I take it to the park. It's not good if that's all you can do for a tortoise. You should really think about having another type of pet.
So if it's ensuite, as we said, they've got the benefit of both worlds in that they can keep themselves warm, heat up in the morning quite nicely, and then if it is a nice afternoon, they can come out and bask in natural sunlight, but they know where that indoor bit is, and they can make a choice of which is most appropriate for them. They're able to thermoregulate, so let them do it. And
natural behaviour,
but they can then benefit from 1 or 2 hours of sun in the afternoon when you're out at work. You just
and
they
move around, don't they? And that's why we like to give different textures as well, and slates and slabs, so that they can regulate their own temperature, keep their nails short, and move around. So
roof slates and slabs are brilliant, really. For you just got to position them well for a nice basking site.
It doesn't have to be expensive.
Oh God, no.
And it doesn't have to look great to start with. It can just look like a building site to start with, and then slowly the plants grow, and you've got an environment. So don't overthink it. Just start.
And you're also, in terms of growing and things for them, I always recommend that you would have a series of planters where you are planting and growing weeds for them that you can then just crop and they regrow again, as well as what's in the pen, because depending on the size of the pen and the space you've got, these guys can just decimate a pen and destroy all the plants in it, and you're just down to hardcore and soil again, I guess. So having some plants that you can grow and crop for them to try and reduce the need for relying on other leafy greens where you can go just for weeds is the way forward, and just put them in planters, plant them and grow them. They're safe, they've got no pesticides on them, and you can just trim them.
It's not
and feed
scary,
them.
just begin. It's so
Yeah.
easy to just go buy lamb's lettuce and rocket and just stick to that, and that's great, but it is still quite high water. So picking natural things is much better.
I tend to avoid giving them too much rocket because they just go too fast.
Yeah.
Don't give them rocket.
Right. So if you, the lovely Kevin, it's such a joy to have someone who's passionate about exotic veterinary care. We need so much more. I wish I could put this guy in a duplication machine. And if you have enjoyed listening to us warble, we will both be at the October conference with European Turtle Alliance, and Kevin's very kindly agreed to give us some time and give a talk then. So please check that out. I'll put the link in the bio, and thanks for watching.